We're going to talk about business structures and registering your business, and just show of hand, who has a business that is already registered? Okay, so a few, 3, 4. Okay, that's good. That's good. So we have a few experts in the room. That's awesome. So a few experts already. That's amazing. So I'm just going to very briefly, this picture was taken here. I'm really excited about putting that picture here. Anyway, so you guys know me already. I'm Karla. I'm originally from Mexico. I came to Canada when I was 18. So that was like 2 years ago. That's not true. I've done a lot of things. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I live and breathe business, as you can tell. Business is my love language. I absolutely love everything about business. I'm a TEDx speaker. I'm also an entrepreneurship instructor at Algonquin College, which is if you're not from Ottawa, it's our Ottawa College. And I work as a business advisor through Invest Ottawa. So if you are in Ottawa, it's a free service for you. So we can always get paired up and work one-on-one on your business, and it's a free service. At the end of the day, so I have a few businesses, but what I love is I love bringing diversity into the business world. I started with helping immigrants, because I'm an immigrant, open and grow and scale their businesses. But very quickly, I started getting clients from all sorts of underrepresented backgrounds. And I really love helping everybody, because I believe that Canada's business world will only get better if we add more diversity to it. So that is sort of my passion and really what I do. Okay, so today, enough about me. What you will learn is you're going to learn about what a sole proprietorship is, then what a partnership is, the disadvantages and advantages of those. Then I'm going to go into explaining what a incorporation is. Actually, I didn't even put that there. Advantages and disadvantages, and then how to register your business. There's different ways of registering your business, but most importantly, if we have time, depending on how we are with time, I'm going to explain what happens after you register, because that's something that nobody told me when I registered my first business. And then I got all of these papers, and then the bank was asking for some papers that I didn't know if I had or not. So I'll try to explain what happens after you register the business, and I'll tell you where and how to register it. I'm not sure if you are going to have time today to register your business, if that is what you wanted to do. But at least I'll give you the basis of where to go next. So the sole proprietorship, basically a sole proprietorship is going to be the easiest way to register your business. And it is your individual person, your individual self that is registering for it. It is really the simplest and the easiest way to structure it. You can literally go to a website right now to register your business, and you'll be done in like 20 minutes tops, and then boom, you're in business. Some of the features of a sole proprietorship is one owner. So your person is the owner of that business. Now, all of the profits of your business and the losses of your business are claimed in your personal income tax. So that means that at the end of the year, usually when we file taxes, anything that your business makes, and anything that your expenses for your business, they have to be claimed on your personal income tax. It lasts 5 years. This is something actually that I didn't know either until recently. I was like, oh shit. I mean, can I swear? Sorry for the ones that are watching the retape. But the master business license, when you register as a sole proprietorship, it only lasts 5 years. So you actually have to re-register it. You can have if you want to, so there's 2 ways of doing a sole proprietorship. You can be a sole proprietorship under your name, just your legal name. That could be the sole proprietorship. Or if you want to have a specific name for your business, then you can have something that is called a name search that you will have to pay on top of the registration. You pay like $8 or so. I think that's the going rate right now. And that name search is called the nuance name search. So this is going to be super important, the nuance name search. If you want to operate a business. Yeah.
It's like really hard to see what's up there.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry. So I know that it's the camera, where they put the camera.
Is that a separate website, like just the nuance names?
So I'll explain that. That's a great question. That's a great question. So when you're registered, you're kind of going ahead, but when you register your business, it'll give you an option if you want to do a nuance name search, and it'll just add it onto your bill. So it's through the same website. They will ask you if you want to do that research or that search. And then it'll, like, the name registry will do it automatically through the same spot, in the same spot. You did. You told me. Oh, I see. If you actually,
I did receive a piece of paper, but yeah.
you'll have to take a look at that piece of paper. Okay. Yeah. You need to find it. Yeah, so if you register your business, make sure that you save the paperwork. Make sure you even if it's nowadays you can do everything digitally, everything online, and everything comes in the form of an email. So just make sure that you start. This is how I did it. I started a Google file, just a Google file where I would just upload everything. Like, I would be like my business registration, and then I would just like clunk it in there so that if, yeah. Yeah, because then it's I can access it anywhere, right? Now this is super important. It's okay to start as a sole proprietor and then move on to bigger things, right? Move into an incorporation. A lot of people ask me, well, if I start as a sole proprietorship, does that mean that I can't, incorporate later? No, that you can actually, and I would recommend a lot of the times, depending on your line of business, to actually start as a sole proprietorship, and then it's just an administrative transaction. It's a little bit more complicated once you get into incorporations, which I'll explain in just a minute, but you can start as a sole proprietor and then move on into incorporating your business. Now, some of the advantages of being a sole proprietor: it's inexpensive. It's a low startup cost to register. You have a lot of freedom from regulation because your person is the business. So you don't have a lot of regulations that come once you open an incorporated business. Once you incorporate your business, there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of regulation that you have to abide by. So you have a little bit more freedom. You as the owner of the business or the owner of the sole proprietorship, you're in direct control of your business. You can take advantages also in terms of taxes. Now, what I mean about this is that as a sole proprietor, as I mentioned initially, all of your what you make from your business and your expenses from your business, they account towards your personal income tax. Now, if you are running your business and you've registered your business as a sole proprietorship and you're running your business out of your home, that means that a part of your either rent or your mortgage is actually tax deductible. It's a business expense. Exactly. Your cell phone bills, part of it could be also be deducted as a business expense. Electricity, like there's a lot of benefits that you can enjoy by actually registering your business as a sole proprietorship. Mileage, if you're going to different places to set up for selling, your stuff, that mileage and gas and parking and all of those extra little expenses that come when you're opening a business or when you have a business, you can actually have some tax advantages to that. And then at the end of the day, all of your profits are going to be yours, minus whatever is the government's, obviously. But as a sole proprietor, you're in direct control of your business. Now, what are the disadvantages of a sole proprietorship? And this one is, I think this would be the biggest one that I would kind of put out there, is that you have unlimited liability. Now, what does that mean? It means that, and I'm gonna give an extreme example. Let's say you own a restaurant, and by the way, I would never, ever recommend a restaurant be a sole proprietorship. They should always incorporate. Because let's say if that restaurant was a sole proprietorship, somebody comes into that restaurant, they get food poisoning, and they want to go after you. They want to sue you. So if they sue you as a sole proprietorship, they can actually go after your personal properties, and they can go after your house, your car. If you have savings, they can go after your savings. So there's not a lot of liability protection. Yes.
So, before COVID, I was an insurance broker, and I used to have professional errors and omissions insurance. Is that something you would get?
You would, depending on the field that you would be in. Yes. Yeah, so you can get insurance for sure, but I would still,
No.
well, and that's why I say it depends on the industry that you're in. If you are a maker, a crafter, an artist, as a sole proprietorship, and there would be very little liabilities that you guys would have to protect against. So there is not, pardon me?
Who's one right now, the plant,
Yeah.
so he's being
Yep. So exactly. So I would also recommend people in the health industry to incorporate, because you don't want to be in any situation where they could go after your personal stuff. Yes?
I have a question.
Yeah.
You're getting that.
Yeah.
Work in a case. So I do a lot of like art, beadwork, whatever, but I also do a lot of like dancing, singing, and stuff like that. So say if I was to go to an event or whatever, and if I was to get hurt,
Oh, that's different.
so like we're talking about insurance or whatever, like how would that?
So that's different. So
Then their insurance.
Yeah. it's their insurance. Yeah, it's their insurance. So this is when you are the business owner, and you're a sole proprietorship. And if somebody were to get hurt, injured, or whatever within your business, and then you open yourself to the liability of being sued and them going after your own personal properties and personal assets.
I think that's a little bit different. I want to open my own salon.
Ah,
You need
So
to have
here,
insurance.
yeah, I know. I already have renter's insurance. But I'm gonna have to have more insurance on top of that now to specifically insure all of my products and that specific room and space that I'm gonna use. But also if they need to use my bathroom or if they like to drink or anything else. So I'm gonna have to have double the insurance if I actually start from home.
But-
That's what I think.
They have
That's what
like
I'm
a
saying.
nail and.
Right.
but hold on, we're talking about business structures though. So this is not about insurance. This is just basically about if you decide to open your spa as a sole proprietorship. Oh, sorry. Yeah, then you would have to think about what kind of services you're offering and if you would be opening yourself to any potential liability. So this is the only, like, not the only reason, but this is a big question where people, if they ask me, should I incorporate or should I stay a sole proprietorship? My question back to you would be, well, how risky is the type of business that you do that others could get injured, or that you could open yourself to liabilities and to people potentially suing you, people getting hurt, so on and so forth. Yes?
So if I were to start doing wood burning, it gets dangerous. If I was to start doing workshops, I've been asked to do that a lot. But if I'm on their property, then I'm covered under their insurance.
That's a great question. I would, yeah, you would need you would need a contract for sure. But in terms of the
Yeah.
yeah.
We're on site now.
Mm-hmm.
I have to make sure that my client is. So I don't have anything come back to me.
Exactly. So when it comes to a sole proprietorship, when people are asking, should I remain a sole proprietor or should I incorporate? The question is, how risky is what you're doing? How open would you be to liabilities with the line of work that you do? But also, do you want to raise capital? Do you want to have an investor? Do you want to have a business loan from a larger institution? And if the answer is yes, that's sort of in your plan or that's what you want to do in the near future, then staying as a sole proprietorship might not be the best course of action, because a lot of these types of institutions, investors, specifically to raise capital, they will not want to give money to businesses that are sole proprietors. They prefer to fund incorporated businesses. I think there was a question here, and then I'll go to you.
answered my question, but specifically candle making, like I'm looking into liability insurance, but to scale or to start, I am started.
You're fine. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're good.
What is capital?
Money.
Oh, okay.
When you're raising money, when you want like a somebody to invest money in your company, or when you want to ask for a loan to a bank, so on and so forth, you will close yourself to opportunities if you remain a sole proprietor. Yes.
Yeah, I've always heard them, or like incorporated, but I don't really understand, because that was it, right?
No, well, we're going to go into more detail on the incorporation side. So I'm just telling you what the sole proprietorship is. And then at the end of the day, if you are a sole proprietorship business, which I think most of you are, if you stay a sole proprietorship business and you have plans to eventually selling your business or, transitioning your business to another potential interested party, it'll be very hard to sell that business as a sole proprietor.
What if you're like want to apply for like grants?
That's different. So grants, so it depends, but normally grants, it will depend on the grant specifications. Normally, they would want either a non-for-profit organization or an incorporated business. But that doesn't mean that it's every grant. Some grants, they may fund sole proprietorships. So this is just something that you guys need to think about what are your future plans.
Okay, so you put difficult to sell / transition to new owner.
Yeah.
Does that include like adding a partner? Or is it
No.
easy to add a
No. I'm just saying like completely sell it.
Okay.
When you want to completely sell your business, because at the end of the day, the sole proprietorship is you.
Okay.
So selling you is going to be difficult, right? So you don't really have anything tangible to sell because you are the business. Okay? Yeah.
If you sign up as a sole proprietor, are you in a contract where you have to remain the sole proprietor for 5 years, or are you able to switch out before those 5 years are over?
No, you can switch. Yeah, you can definitely switch. Actually, I thought that was going to be my next slide, that you can always switch, but it wasn't. But yeah, you can always switch. So there's going to be a slide where I'm going to say you can always switch. So now, partnership. So we talked about sole proprietorship. The next option is a partnership, which at the end of the day, it's copy paste from what I just said, but instead just you being the business is you and a partner. You and somebody else. If you have a business partner and you want to go into business together, you want to go halfsies on everything, that's what a partnership comes into effect. And it's basically a business that is owned by 2 or more people, but it's the same thing. Everything goes under your personal income taxes, split in 2 because it's 2 individual. Here we go. So it's 2 or more owners. Profits and losses are divided between both partners and then claim in each partner's personal income tax. Registering is the same thing. It's super inexpensive, like $60, 60 to 70. I'm not sure what the going rate is now. Last 5 years. And then you also have the optional name search, like the sole proprietorship. So again, it's the copy paste, but times 2 for if you decide to go in with a friend, or a partner or whoever you want to go in. Now, the advantages of a partnership is that it's easy to form, just like the sole proprietorship, inexpensive to form. You have broader management base because there's another person. I mean, how many times do we say, I just wish there was another one of me running this business? So there's another person. And then the same potential tax advantages that I just talked about. The disadvantages, same issue. Unlimited liability, split in 2. Pardon?
Yeah, I can copy in here.
Oh, we're going to give you the slides, my friends. We're going to give you the slides. Don't copy. We'll email you the slides, please. Just absorb the information.
Stop writing.
Oh my God. It's because I'm cognizant of time too. But no. You guys are going to be given the slides, but just pay attention. Just absorb everything. I'm like, everybody's so studious. Sorry, my apologies. I should have said this. So, anyways, the advantages, the same thing as a sole proprietorship. Disadvantages, pretty much the same thing as a sole proprietorship. I think the one that we need to note on this one is that it's really hard to find a suitable partner. It's really hard to find somebody that has the same oomph as you do in your business. And when you break up, when you find somebody, you go into business together and things kind of don't work out, it's pretty hard to do. It's like a marriage breakup. Yes.
Of course. Mom, would you recommend like a partnership or a sole proprietorship?
With your mom?
Yeah.
It could be a partnership. Mm-hmm. Well, it depends. Like you would have to make sure that both of you are in agreement and that everything is going to be split
Yeah,
half-seas.
'cause she has her like own business, her own website, like.
Then it's something that you have to talk with her. Yeah. Because it might make sense just to go on your own too. Yeah.
Partner dies, then say that that's
a good question.
if you're
Yeah.
Hey.
Right. Yes. So it is super important that you choose your partner carefully and you sign an agreement. So that's when it's kind of like a prenup agreement, like the, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, partnership agreement. Like what's going to happen if, somebody dies? What's going to happen if all of a sudden one is not interested in the business anymore? And it's just like all of these questions that you kind of have to think ahead of time. What happens if I don't want to work with my mom anymore? Like all of these things have to be talked about before you get into the partnership and agreed upon.
as well as like estate too, because like if you're with a partner, say you're flying off, you're making a great thing, and then something happens to your partner, do you still have to like pay their family their share of that if they have it like written down in their will and all of that stuff?
Yeah, all of that needs to be discussed ahead of time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. So now we're going into incorporating a business. Incorporation, and I don't know. Okay, yeah, you can't see the picture there, but incorporation, they're used interchangeably, same thing. So at the end of the day, when I talked about sole proprietorship, your person, you are the business. When you are creating an incorporated business, you are literally creating a completely separate legal entity. It's like a giving birth to a completely separate legal being. Pardon? Oh, yes, but it doesn't go with the personal income tax calendar. It's different. So as a completely separate legal entity, this legal entity has its rights and its responsibilities too. So the profits and the losses, they're reported on their corporate tax returns. With the sole proprietorship, we report our profits and our losses on our personal income tax, right? Which is usually every February, March, April, somewhere in there. With a corporation, you actually you do your taxes on the birthday of the corporation. So if you incorporate in, I don't know, March 2nd, then it's the end, like the last day of the month of the birthday. So March 31st is when you have to start filing the taxes for that business.
Taxes were like that.
Right? I think it would be so difficult for the government. They just want everybody at the same time. Yeah. So for a corporation, the taxes are done on the birthday of the corporation. So if you have a business, like an incorporated business, but then you also have a job, then you have to think about it. I'm going to have to file my personal taxes for my job stop, but I'm also going to have to file my corporate taxes on the birthday of the company. So it gets a little bit more administratively heavy once you have an incorporated business. There are pros and cons for it though. You can do the same thing. Actually, you have to do the same thing for an incorporated business. You can decide to name it like a named business, and you'll do the names, the nuance name search, or you can choose to just, like, if you don't care about the name of the business, you just want an incorporation without a name. Some people do. Exactly. So then you're assigned that the corporation will be a numbered corporation. They'll just assign you the number for your business. And if you're in Ontario, it'll be 23531 Ontario Inc. And that will be the official name of your corporation. So, but if you want a specific name, you want to name your corporation specifically something, then you will also have to run that nuance name search that I talked about. And yes, you can. I wouldn't copyright it. I would trademark it. Yeah, you can trademark it. It takes a while to do that, but yeah, you can. It will, however, when you are doing the name search through Nuance and you register it, the corporation or the sole proprietorship under the name that you give it, that means that nobody in Ontario, at least for the sole proprietorship, nobody in Ontario can have the same name as your business. So the Nuance name search is basically a database of all of the businesses in Ontario. And it'll look, when you're doing the search, it'll tell you, yes, you are able to call it this, whatever name you decide, because nobody has that name. And then once you pay for it, that means that if somebody else wanted to register a name that is the name of your business or similar to your business, they will flag it and won't let anybody else register it. So there is a lot of name protection once you do your Nuance name search. Now, when you're incorporating your business, you can incorporate it provincially or you can incorporate it federally. And this is where it starts getting a little juicy and spicy. So you incorporate, basically, when you incorporate federally, you will also have to incorporate it provincially. Why? Because incorporating it federally, so across Canada, the only thing that's going to do that is that it will protect the name that you chose federally. That's the only thing that incorporating federally is going to do, is that it's going to protect the name that you chose everywhere. But you still have to register in the province that you are holding your business in, where your headquarters are based. If you don't care about national name protection, you don't have to incorporate federally. You just incorporate in the province that you are doing your business, and then that's it. Some people don't care about that. Now, some people do want to make sure that they protect their name and like nobody in Canada steals the name of their business. So then they incorporate federally to protect the name federally, but they still have to incorporate in the province that they're holding business in. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. All right. So some advantages: limited liability. So let's say somebody, breaks their nose in your business and they want to go after you and everything that you own. Guess what? They can't go after anything that you own personally. However, they will go after whatever the corporation owns. So at the end of the day, it's better that they go after what the corporation owns and not what you own, because they could go after your pension if you have one. So on and so forth. So it basically creates a shield. A corporation creates a shield between your personal assets and the company's assets, okay? So again, it really depends on the type of industry that you're operating in. The ownership of this particular business, you can transfer it. You can sell it fairly easy. It's easier because you're actually selling something tangible, because you created something, a baby, basically. So you can actually sell it. Terrible way of putting it, but but it is easy to sell it. So when businesses are sold or acquired, that you read in the magazines or in the newspapers, those businesses are incorporated, and it's easier to sell a business that way. It is a legal entity, and you can also get some tax advantages. Some of disadvantages are that they're closely regulated. Once you create, a little legal monster baby entity, you're going to be regulated. The government knows that you open something, so they're going to want you to file your taxes. They're going to want you to file your taxes through an accountant, because you can't just do it yourself. It is going to be the most expensive way to create a business, to organize a business. You need a lot of record keeping, because again, it's a legal entity. You need to have all of your accounting in place because you need to file your taxes. There is no but, ifs, or when. It has to be done. So if you are going to incorporate, make sure that you are ready. Like, it's mostly mentally ready to incorporate so that you're able to do all of the fiscal responsibilities that it entails. And then the tax rules are going to be a little bit more complex. So some things to consider for incorporations is review your personal assets. You know, if you have considerable personal assets, it might be a good idea to incorporate. Look at your long-term goals. If you eventually want to have funding, venture capital, loans, or if you eventually want to sell your business and, you know, double your, you know, sell your business for like 3 times, 4 times their revenue, then you might have to incorporate because it's easier to sell a business that way. Also look at the type of clientele that you have. But at the end of the day, if you're unsure if you should incorporate or not, seek professional advice through either an accountant or somebody that knows accounting, or a lawyer. Here we go. You may want to engage with a lawyer or an accountant to help you make your decision. Are we all good on the same page? Awesome. Okay, so registering your business. So now you know. So the different options was sole proprietorship or a partnership, which is copy paste divided by 2. And then the other option is a corporation. And they're very, very, very different. And they're very price-wise, they're going to be also very different. So when there's different ways to register your business. You can do it yourself. You can, no problem, like anybody can do it. So by doing it yourself, first of all, you have to realize, do you want to do a sole proprietorship, partnership, or an incorporation? I would always recommend to do a nuance report, to always say yes if you want to register a business name that is separate from your legal name. Now, this is important. You don't have to register as a sole proprietorship if you're operating under your legal name. So if the business is literally your name, like Karla Briones, and I'm just operating as Karla Briones, usually consultants are like that. If I'm just under Karla Briones, I don't necessarily have to register my business. The government doesn't mandate me to register my business. But if I wanted to be Karla Briones Consulting or Karla Briones whatever, that is not my legal name per se, then I would have to register it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, super important, any type of business registration is going to be a provincial activity. So you register your business through the province that you live in. And every province has its different ways of doing it. In Ontario, if you want to register as a sole proprietorship, even as a corporation, basically you just do ontario.ca. And that's where you register if you want to do it yourself. As I mentioned, there's going to be different processes. Like every province is going to be a little bit different. In Ontario, it's all handled through ontario.ca. Yeah.
Just for like name changes and stuff like that.
Mm.
Like so if you changed your name, and you didn't want to use your dead name from before,
Yeah.
are you still able to use that one and not register your business? Like if you've changed your name, like say legally and everything to something else,
Mm-hmm.
you can use that as your business name and not have to register
Yeah.
still,
Yeah, exactly.
even if you changed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, go ahead.
I'm from Quebec. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So how would that,
For what?
like, would I register, like,
You have to register in Quebec. Mm-hmm.
where do you, like,
Yeah.
in Quebec, but I also do a lot of work in
Yeah. It doesn't matter. So, yes.
Okay, so now my concern is like everything's all French language.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So that's sort of where.
No.
Yeah, you.
built in the United States, French language first. You can't even call and ask for help. They can hang up on you.
Seriously? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
How'd that happen? I was in Montreal and I was on Guy Levesque Street, but I called it Guy Levesque. So I was like, "Can you pick me up on Guy Street?" And they just laughed at me and hung up
Aww.
because I called it Guy Street. They knew I was English, not French.
So I mean, that's like a huge issue.
That's another issue. Yeah.
So like a huge hitter.
I'm pretty- Yeah.
When I would come, like I got hard this year for my taxes.
Okay, so that's a different issue. We'll learn about that in 2 weeks. No, 4 weeks.
In Quebec sucks. Been doing a lot of my work out of Quebec. So I guess I just have to move out of Quebec.
No, but I mean, you can register in Quebec, and I'm pretty sure the website to register in Quebec, it's like the Enterprise something, Quebec Enterprise, I think, and I'm totally butchering the French. I'm pretty sure you're able to choose the English tab.
You can choose English, but say if you were to need help.
Oh.
This is the fill out that form.
Okay. Oh, okay.
You can't call and
Yeah.
say, oh, hey, I'm filling out my form to start my business.
Yeah.
Because I don't speak French, they're gonna hang up on me.
It should be fairly straightforward to fill in an application. It should be just because normally when you fill in, normally when you do a sole proprietorship, all you need to do is enter your name, your address, Entreprise Quebec. I'll send the document in just a second. So anyway, so doing it yourself usually is fairly straightforward, fairly easy for sole proprietorships and partnerships. You had a question?
Asking about that, like, isn't there a form you have to fill out to go work in Quebec? Because when I filed my taxes this year,
To
I
work?
had remitted everything to my accountant and I didn't fill out a form to work in Quebec. So I invoiced a client in Quebec, charged them GST, but technically I wasn't able to do that. So hush hush, like there's a workaround that we had to do, but there's a form technically. So we as sole proprietors, I realized we're not able to work in Quebec. Or bill clients there.
Walls.
Yeah, like.
No, you are. So you are able to, you just have to charge them the appropriate tax. You have to charge the tax that they pay.
I'll have to ask him about that.
So usually the accountant should be able to do it. Yeah.
Okay, but I think it was, I had to do it prior to billing them with the form
I think so.
appropriately registered in Ontario. So I was like.
Like as an included price.
Yeah, okay, so, all right.
Okay. That's an accounting thing.
That's right, like when we're working with two different provinces that aren't on the same thing, let alone two different languages.
It's interesting because if you have a Shopify store, for example, the when you're setting up your Shopify store, it will ask you which province do you reside in? Do you charge taxes? Like, have you registered to charge the whatever HST or GST or PST, wherever province you're in? And if you are registered, then what Shopify will do is it will automatically charge the appropriate tax where your goods are going to. And Shopify has it built automatically. So if you're sending stuff to Quebec, it will charge the PST and the QST, I think it is in Quebec, or yeah, the GST and QST or PST. And then if you're sending your stuff into Alberta, it'll charge the appropriate tax automatically for whatever the tax is, where the product is going to.
What if we're supplying services though to another province but not through Shopify? So like she does photography, so like you're not gonna use Shopify for that. I do dance.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So it's the same thing. You charge the appropriate tax to the province where you're delivering the services to. You don't charge the HST. You charge it's the GST and whatever provincial tax they have. You have to talk to an accountant.
That tax on top of the price they owe it?
Yeah. Yeah. But you have to make sure that you talk to your accountant with this.
correct? GST.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, we got sidetracked to accounting. Let's come back. Come back to me, my children. All right. If you want to DIY your incorporated business, like let's say you want to do it yourself, not so straightforward. So doing your the sole proprietorship and registering it yourself, super easy, should be very straightforward. An incorporation, on the other hand, if you want to do it yourself, it's kind of hard. I'm gonna be really honest. So basically what happens with the incorporation, you need to decide if you're gonna have different types of shares, who are gonna be your shareholders, your board of directors. Like it's kind of crazy. So normally what people end up doing with corporations is they have two avenues. They can go through a lawyer, incorporate through a lawyer. And why would you want to hire a lawyer? It's a one-stop shop. It's easy. You just say, yo, lawyer, like I want to incorporate, and they will do absolutely everything for you. They will help you. It's a two-step process to incorporate. So they will do everything for you. They will maybe answer some questions that you may have, and it's just a peace of mind, and they will, hold your hand and do everything for you. The downside is that it's really damn expensive to incorporate through a lawyer. So on average, you're looking at $1,500 on average. Pardon? No, one-time fee
Oh,
on average. Depending on if you go to a fancy schmancy lawyer with like a fancy schmancy office, be ready to shell out like $2,500 to $3,000. If you go to like, other.
it might be worth it if you're really taking on big time.
Exactly. Absolutely. 100%. So this is the average. It's the $1,500 plus whatever the government fees are, which are ranging right now in the $250 to $300. So add it. So it is expensive. It is an expensive endeavor. That's why some people ask me, can I start as a sole proprietorship and then move on into incorporating myself once I'm, more financially stable? Absolutely, 100%. It's done all the time. So again, when you hire your lawyers, when you have many shareholders, when perhaps you have an international shareholder and that gets a little bit more complicated, when it's a more complicated business, or when you really need a lot of hand-holding. So that's when I would always recommend hiring a lawyer. Yep.
Maybe sort of touch a little bit on shareholders, because maybe some individuals here may not understand.
Yeah.
So.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, for sure. Shareholders, just think about it as similar to a partnership. When I talk about the sole proprietorship, there's a partnership. You have two people working on the business. So when you're incorporated, you can have different people that are part of the business, and they can be shareholders. So they can be officially part of the business in the incorporation as shareholders. And they could either be working shareholders, they're in it with you, they're like busting their butt with you there, or they can be silent partners. They could just give you money, but they still want to own part of the business. So then you can structure how much you want them to own of the business for. So they can be a shareholder and they own 10% of the company. So this is something that you would have to structure, and you would have to decide amongst each other how that structure is going to happen. Good.
Shared liability.
Yes and no, because it's limited liability with a corporation. You share the liability with a partnership, with a sole proprietorship partnership. Yeah. Now, I mentioned that you can go through a lawyer if you want to incorporate, which is going to be quite expensive. However, you don't have to go through a lawyer. You can actually, there's something called online services. So online services is basically organizations like private companies that's all they do. They just do incorporations. If they're legal, obviously, but they're not the schmancy lawyers with schmancy offices. And they just do incorporations. So because that's all they do and it's all online, the prices are actually going to be more reasonable. So what I would recommend is that you search incorporate and then in the province that you want to incorporate. In Ontario, it's going to be, some options to do it that way. It would be Ontario Business Central, Registry Express, and incorporate.ca. These are two ways of doing it. The costs are going to vary, but as you can see, It's going to be a base fee plus the government filing fee. I mentioned the government filing fee is $250 to $300 right now. But the average goes down to $800 to $900, as opposed to an average of $1,500 when you go through a lawyer plus the government fees. There is an online site that I love because they're so friendly and they're so nice, and it's called Owner, and that's not a typo, that's how it's spelled. And it's basically a way that you can either register your sole proprietorship or your incorporation through this website. And if you have questions, let's say you want to go for and do the online way to do your incorporation, but then you may have a question about, geez, I don't know how to structure these shares. There's actually a person that you can have there in a chat box that can walk you through the entire process. So that's actually super helpful. So it's not like you're doing it yourself without any help, and it's not like you're giving all the power to the lawyer. It's kind of something in between where you're doing it yourself, but if you have a question, you have somebody right there to ask. I don't know if they have Quebec. I would check with Owner Quebec, see if they have it, because then it would be super easy. And as you can see, an incorporation is super, like, it's way less expensive through Owner. Yeah, everything is done there. Yeah, they do everything, and they just give you, check here if you want to do the nuance report, and then you just check, and it's all done automatically online, and then you get everything on your inbox. For a sole proprietorship, no, yes, you're right. It's pretty straightforward. For an incorporation, you may need some extra help. Yeah. Okay, so at the end of the day, you have to decide what's best for you. You have to take a look at, where do you want to be in a few years? What kind of business line you're in? What are your goals at the end of the day, and decide if incorporating is for you or a sole proprietorship is for you. But as I mentioned, yes, you can start as a sole proprietorship and then incorporate. Okay, so what happens after you register? So let's say you go through the entire process and you're like, yes, I'm in business. I'm officially registered. So what happens? Okay, so the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to send you, you're going to do the business name registration, which we talked about, which is the nuance report. We talked about this name registration. It expires after 5 years, and you have to renew it every 5 years. And you are going to register in your provincial register office, which in Ontario we said it was ontario.ca. Okay. Now, after you register, come on, why are you not? Okay. There we go. So after you register, they're going to send you 2 numbers, and it's probably going to be in the form of an email. You're going to receive an email, and you're going to have 2 numbers. It's going to be the business identification number, so the BIN number. I don't know if you guys can see right here. Yeah. So the BIN number, and you're also going to get your master business license, the MBL. So when do you need those? Super important. Just owning an internet domain does not automatically mean that it can be your business name, right? So you make sure that you register that business name first to make sure that it's available and that nobody else has it, okay? It happens, don't worry. It happens to all of us. Because it would suck that you have the domain name and then you go in and register the name and then somebody has that. Make some money out of that too. So, okay. So what is the business identification number? This is basically assigned to you. You don't have to ask for it. It'll automatically be assigned to you by the province after you register the business. And it's going to be a 9-digit number. And you're going to find that 9-digit number, the business identification number, in the paper, my friend over here. That paper has your BIN number. The paper that you need to find.
It's in the bin.
Now, why is that BIN number so important? Okay, so, I told you that there was going to be a picture of what it looked like. This is what it looks like.
There's no number though.
The business number is going to be up here.
I think I just have exactly what you're showing right now.
without a number?
Yeah.
It's gonna
I look for it. I can see where. I'll have to find it.
Anyway, so this is what the document is going to look like. It's going to be sent immediately after you register. So if you register online, it's going to be sent to you via email, and it's going to contain that 9-digit business number over there. Yes.
Register, for the DIN number and the master business license, do you have to charge tax?
No. Okay, that's a completely different class, but no, you.
Up to 30,000 right after that, then you have to.
But in order to, you cannot charge tax unless you ask CRA for permission. And by asking permission, you basically have to register yourself for an HST account.
We can have a master business license number today and not worry about taxes next year.
Correct. So the moment that you have to apply for an HST number so that you can charge that tax is when your business makes $30,000 in 4 consecutive quarters. So during during a full year. So after you have 4 consecutive quarters where in total your business makes $30,000, then you have to apply for that HST and you have to charge that HST.
But it's not like January to December.
No, it's just 4 consecutive quarters. Yeah.
To register your business number.
Yeah.
And then get your donation.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this is super important, guys. Super, super important. Why am I talking about those 9 digits? It's because you're going to need those 9 digits to open a business bank account. And if you guys don't have a business bank account after you register your business, you should. Everybody should separate your business from your personal. Everybody should do it. Please do not mix, what do you call it? Business with pleasure. Never, never, never mix business with pleasure. So it's just easier to keep accounting. It's easier to track what your business expenses are versus your personal expenses. We should always, always try to separate business from personal finances. So after you register your business, you're going to get your business number, business identification number, and you're going to need that number to open a bank account for your business. Okay? So let's review the process. You're going to be registering in the province where you live, your business. You're going to be getting your business identification number, and then the master business license will be the one which is all in the same document anyway. You're going to need it to open that bank account for your business. And I think that's it. Do I have any questions? Oh, I'm not going to say this. Okay, this is the part where we talk about the tax. So you guys, somebody asked about the tax. Okay, so when you get to that level, when you get to the point where you're actually making more than $30,000 in 4 consecutive quarters, it doesn't have to be calendar year, then you're going to have to apply for a business number, and it's a BN, and it's basically, this is a federal number where you go to CRA. And you tell them, yo, CRA, I need a business number. And they'll send you that business number. And this is then you're going to be able to apply to charge and remit HST. If you want to have employees that you want to pay on payroll, you're going to need that business number from CRA. And you're going to have to sign up for a payroll deduction account. And then if you're an incorporation, that's different. But any of this, like all of these things, it's actually a fast process and it's free to do. You just need to apply through the Canada Revenue Agency to get that specific number. So if you want to charge HST or GST, you need to apply through the Canada Revenue Agency. And if you're going to employ people and have them on payroll, not as contractors, but on payroll, then you'll also need to get a payroll account. And if you want to import stuff, some people like to import, from abroad stuff because it's cheaper. You actually need an import license that you'll need to apply also through CRA. An export. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Money's coming in.
Yep.
at all?
No.
Like if you don't make any money at all?
No, it doesn't matter. Mhm.
I found the number.
Yes,
But look at
you found it.
It's not where renting a number.
It's the same document.
There's nothing there. It's in the PDF name.
Oh, there you go.
So it wasn't printed. Where you
Okay, it's in the PDF name, guys.
said the file name was the actual number.
My mistake.
That's
You
even
found
mine.
it. Yes.
Everyone-
That's awesome. In his inbox. It was in his inbox. Ah. And then that's it. Thank you guys. Any questions? You guys have been an awesome group, by the way.